welcome to the gathering. It's David Ault. And before we get started, if you would do me a favor and just pause wherever you are and take some deep breaths. Let those breaths be just a little bit deeper than normal so that you're mindful that you're actually doing something deliberate. And on the inhale, I want you to try saying to yourself, I allow. And on the exhale, say, I release all resistance. So inhale, I allow. Exhale, I release all resistance. And I want you to maybe try and do that for 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Just breathing in and breathing out, welcoming in this state of beginner's mind. So I'll be quiet for a moment. Inhale, I allow. Exhale, I release all resistance. If your mind wanders, just go back. Inhale, I allow. Exhale, I release all resistance. A few seconds more. Inhale, I allow. Exhale, I release all resistance. And in so doing, we open ourselves up to an availability of listening and receiving with what we call beginner's mind. It is that purity within us that has never been violated. It is that space within us that is completely open and receptive to truths, universal truths, infinite intelligence that already exist within us. So it isn't about letting anything in, it's about uncovering and unveiling all of the things that might dampen or prevent us from hearing, knowing, and experiencing that truth that is already there. And so it's a sort of a homecoming, and it's a beautiful way in which we can give ourselves this gift at any point, at any time. I allow, I release all resistance. And so it is. Hello. I find that to be very helpful. I find that to be something that never grows out of fashion. And I wanted to start with that today because I wanted to share with you a little bit of some personal aggravation, some personal suffering, if you will, all based in the realm of thought. Not necessarily having to do with anything outside of me, but really coming from a long-standing, recurring theme that is within me. But before I tell you what that is, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself entertaining this idea or this statement or sentiment inside of you? And it's, they're going to have to regain my trust. Have you ever had that thought or held that thought as a true reality? Something external, someone external is going to have to work hard to regain your trust. And I want to debunk that right now. What I want to do is to say it's not their responsibility to regain your trust. The slippery slope with that kind of common statement or that kind of common sentiment that many of us say and continue to say or have said is that it ties into one of the greater illusions, and that is that something outside of us is responsible for our mental well-being. They're going to have to regain my trust. All the things that they did that seemed to rob me of that trust, they're going to have to work really, really hard in order to reclaim that. And I'm here to tell you, I don't subscribe to that. I don't find that to be in alignment with the greater universal truth that there is nothing external, there is no other. And so what we're doing in that slippery slope is we are perpetuating this idea that something external has power over us. Something has the power to rob us of trust. A more accurate statement would be, I'm going to have to regain my own sense of trust. And that trust that I'm talking about is a trust that never wavers because it is a trust in the divine. And when I fall into the idea of an us and them, really what I'm falling deeper into is a mistrust in the divine. I'm questioning and I'm challenging a universal theme that tells me that the divine design, or that which is God, is always at play and always around me, and I am absorbed in that. Anything that is a mistrust in that is on me and on my own perceptions and my own thought processes and the way in which I play with that and engage in that. And at first it stings a little bit, right? Because there is some type of temporary relief in putting the responsibility on something outside of us. And it always stings a little bit when we have to bring it back home and go, ah, that's me. That's me. Because here's the thing, there will always be the illusion of something outside of us robbing us of trust. There will always be something outside of us that seems to fit a narrative that the world is unsafe, or that there's not enough, or that people will let us down, or the masses overpromise and underdeliver. And so you see, we've got epic amounts of valid quotes and statements and things of that nature that want to solidify this illusion. But if you're sort of wanting to go where I'm wanting to go, and that is back home to that empowered place within me that is pure, that, as we said in our opening mantra, that is willing to allow an unsevered communion with that divine intelligence or God, then I must be able to be willing to look at all the times that I deviate from that, all the times that I resist that. I allow, I release all resistance. And so I've been in a lot of resistance since I returned from my adventure walking the Camino. I'll tell you a little bit about that because I'm quite sure that there are many who identify with what I have identified with in terms of my illusion or my theme. I call that theme the Lone Ranger syndrome. The Lone Ranger syndrome kind of sounds something like this. I'm alone. I'm alone in my challenge. I'm going to have to do it myself. You can't trust other people. And all of those types of things are what we like to call in today's vernacular trauma responses. Trauma response meaning that there's been some trauma within us where we were at the mercy of an outer energy, entity, or experience that robbed us of our trust. So we all share this trauma. And here's the slippery slope again. No one is denying that those traumas aren't real in the human experience. Small r real. But at some point, are we willing to venture beyond the small r reality of the trauma to get to the greater capital R reality, that all along there has been a divine design? Whew, that's a slap in the face for any of us who have wanted to hold on to our trauma or our theme. And what humbles me is the cyclical nature of the Lone Ranger syndrome. You know, I can face it, I can look at it, I can go, that's what's going on. There is this old theme that's telling me that I'm unsafe and something is going to have to regain my trust. And I can stop there and I can have a satisfaction in the fact that, oh, look at me, I have clinically diagnosed my trauma and what's going on. But that's not enough for me. because I realized that in that diagnosis, even that is an illusion in the grander scheme of things. I'm somebody, I really, really want more and more to swim in the waters of the absolute. I want to swim in the waters of non-dualism, which tells me that the only reality is this divine perfection, that which is God, light, source, absolute love, that nothing in this human experience can rob me of. But I feel robbed. I feel robbed. My Lone Ranger syndrome wants to tell me that I've been robbed. And so rather than getting stuck by that or feeling the aggravation or the suffering from that, I get to go, oh, here it is again. Here it is again. It is an opportunity for me to go deeper. And I go, how much deeper do I have to be with this? Seriously. And I realized pretty deep. I realized pretty deep that this cyclical thing that keeps facing me, it doesn't mean that I have failed in my journey to relinquish that theme or to heal from that theme, but that healing is ongoing. You see, that's the other thing, the other slippery slope that we do to ourselves. We think, wow, I should have gotten this by now. I can't believe I'm still challenged by this particular theme, whatever that theme might be for you. It could be not enough, being unlovable, not being worthy, finding yourselves in constant, treacherous financial waters, which then is this theme of lack and limitation. We all share in these things, and what happens is we beat ourselves up when they present themselves again. And the paradigm shift in all of that, the paradox is, instead of beating ourselves up, going, oh, here it is again, it circles back to go, let's take it deeper. Let's take it deeper so that we can become even more untethered to the theme. So I come back and, I'm an executive director and a founder of a nonprofit. Nonprofits are hard. It appears that way. The world circumstances and all the tenuousness around economics and things of that nature. So all of those things are making a particular upcoming fundraiser event not very fun for me. And there's been a lot of closed doors and a lot of frustration and a lot of learning lessons and a lot of facing assumptions that I had about a particular avenue that we were exploring. And so on one hand, I feel bad that I got roped into the assumption. On the other hand, I'm diving, it's activating the Lone Ranger syndrome, and I'm feeling all of this responsibility, and it's not fun. And I watch my mind grab onto that and then want to take it and put it on to people and circumstances, and mostly to myself. Just a real opportunity to beat up on myself. You should have known better. And so that has been this kind of collective ebb and flow, this ocean wave of aggravation that I've been working with after my Camino. And I thought, this is not fun. And I would have wanted my post-Camino time to be something different. And yet I realized that the Camino has set me up perfectly in order to take this present day facing of the Lone Ranger syndrome even deeper. And here's one of the relief points. And I was reading about a woman who came upon a fossil. She had been actually a science teacher, so she had some great data on what a fossil looked like. And when she came upon this on a beach somewhere, Canada, Nova Scotia area, it looked highly unusual. And lo and behold, are you ready for this? This fossil predates even the dinosaur era. The dinosaur era, somewhere around the 200 million BC. The carbon data of this particular fossil predates it even by 100 million years. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. Fossils that exist 100 million years before dinosaurs? It's mind-blowing to me. And that was the thing that goes, oh my God, David, you know, your little Lone Ranger syndrome theme is deliciously irrelevant. And it made me think about the scope of me in this human form and this dance that I'm doing, and how I get so caught into thinking that my issue, my problem, my worry is something unsolvable. And here there is this, this unknown species of a fossil that has everybody excited because it's going to open up even more greater doors to the fallibility of this human plane. And it also reminded me of one of my favorite quotes from the writer Anne Lamott. And she said, in 100 years, all new people. Oh my God, I used to laugh at that. 100 years, all new people. Meaning everything that I'm just so locked into my mental suffering, it's all going to be over, and there will be a whole new generation of people. And what do I do with that? What do you do with that? It's like, in this moment, take a deep breath and go, I release all resistance. The resistance that wants to stay loyal, into demonizing, making an enemy out of something out there. The person that's going to have to regain my trust. No, it's not their responsibility. It's my responsibility to see that every time that an issue such as trust comes up for me, it's my responsibility to look and go, where am I investing this thing called trust in something external? When trust inwardly goes, come what may, no matter what experience or what happens or who crosses my human story, I'm still held within the energy of the divine. I'm still inescapably absorbed in a intelligence and a divine design that knows and celebrates my alignment with the one. And so what that does is it frees me from having to walk around with this armor of this person or this organization or this thing is going to have to regain my trust. No, all of those things have crossed our paths in order to strengthen the innate trust within the divine. If I'm that thrown off course by something, which I've been thrown off course since I've been back, worrying and looking at this whole thing of the nonprofit world and the initiatives that we're trying to do and this and that and the other, and buying into this limitation that it's just difficult right now. Okay, it is. It appears to be difficult right now, but that has nothing to do with resources, the infinite resources. That it has nothing to do with anybody else's behavior. It just is an opportunity for me to go, look at what the initial lie continues to do in your life, David. The initial lie is, I am separate. It's a part of the lesson plan for being human. You got the lie, I got the lie, everybody else got the lie. And the journey is, what are you going to do with the lie? Are you going to live in harmony with the lie? Or are you going to recognize the lie and continue to allow and release all of the resistance that is wanting to free us of the lie? Wanting to free us of the lie. And no one's journey with that process is a carbon copy of yours or mine or anyone else's. It's just that when it comes to us, what are we going to do in this moment? I was so in it. Couldn't sleep, worrying, calling, canvassing, doing everything that I could, but I'm doing it from the energy of the lie. What would it be like if I just let all of that go? What would I be like if I could stumble upon a shore and find a fossil that is 300 million years old that could remind me of the impermanence of all of this. And that while I'm here, I might as well let it go and just live in harmony with anything that even looks like it's oppositional. Because in point of fact, it's all working for my good. All things work together for good to them that love the law that tells us that there is only one universal power and presence. It all works together. And so here I am with my Lone Ranger syndrome going, I'm all alone in this. No one can help me. And rather than cursing myself for it, I can now turn to that syndrome and go, oh, thank you. Thank you for signaling me that I have an opportunity to go deeper. So, what is your theme? How is the lie of I am separate cohabitating the energy of your life? And how are we working with it in order to allow it to diffuse and in order to face our themes, and instead of cursing them or ourselves, to fall more deeply in love with the beauty of this intricacy, this meticulousness of how everything keeps coming right in front of us going, hey, you might want to look at this. It's all working together for our good. Love is infallible. Your purpose, your radiance, your soul's divine plan is so deeply empowered and so deeply loved that it stops at nothing in order to bring you home, in order to bring me home. I realize that it stops at nothing to bring me home, and it goes, oh, you're still holding on to, you're still a little, you get activated by sometimes the smallest things in the world. So you might want to look at that. That's freedom. That's freedom. Letting other people off the hook. No one has to regain my trust. I simply get to regain my own. God bless us all. Much love.